And good evening. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner here on the Highliner Activity Network, live on YouTube. Pardon me. I get all choked up when I know I'm going to be talking baseball and softball, so I'm sorry, pardon me. But we are going to be talking spring sports. Spring is coming eventually, sometime in June. We'll have spring, but we are joined by head baseball coach of the Valley City Highlanders, Seth Soderholm. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Good, thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate you joining us, and we kid about it, but there will be season. There will be a season. We don't know when, but it will be coming. Getting all these reps indoors, let's first talk about hitting. Yeah, you can hit in a cage, but seeing live pitching, and you do, I assume you saw live pitching.
Yep.
What is harder for you guys to work on when you have to be indoors as long as you are?
Really, it's just defensive stuff. You know, you're not throwing. You know, you can throw the length of the gym. That's about it. Sometimes we'll play catch and we can throw into the cages so you can kind of stretch it out, but that's kind of what it comes down to. Hitting, we can replicate the environment, make it as we try to make it harder than a game. You know, while we're inside, because if it's harder than the game will feel easier. It's just an easy way of doing that. But yeah, defense. You know, you don't get any fly balls, you don't get any pop flies, cuts. We're doing cuts on 20 feet apart, just walking through it. That's kind of what you have to do. But so I don't know. I'm guessing just based off of where we are now, the first time we're outside, we're going to be playing.
Yeah.
So we try to hone in on as much of that as we can while we're inside, because we know once we get outside, it'll probably be full go.
And, you know, you haven't really had, yes, we've had a lot of snow, but you haven't really had maybe a nice day, a 40-plus day where you could maybe go to a parking lot or something and work on fly balls. You haven't even had that.
No, yeah, we've been inside every day so far. And comparing to last year, first week of the season, we were outside every day. We got to go throw at the field, take ground balls. But, yeah, so it's a little bit different this year.
And, you know, we can say everybody's in the same boat. I mean, anybody in the upper Midwest in the same boat, so it's not. But you got some of the bigger towns that may have domes they can go to work on fly balls. So you might be a little bit behind the 8 ball, aren't you?
Yeah, well, we got the hand we have.
Yeah.
It's whatever. We'll make the most of it. We got tough kids. We deal with it. We're used to it. They don't complain. We don't complain. Is what it is.
And I think, you know, you look at this year, a lot of high expectations coming into this year for this ball club. 7-10 last year, 1 win away from getting into that state tournament, losing in the play-in state qualifying game to Shanley. Is that coming in? Are there a lot of expectations with this club coming in?
I mean, we talk about it. We just talk about our own goals. We don't try to put too much pressure on us. We know what we have to do to, you know, make the tournament. Then obviously the next goal is make state. You know, we were 2 innings away from doing it last year. So they know that. They know what they have to do. They come in focused. They've been good so far about it.
And I know I talked to Broden Muskie a while ago, and he said as a group of seniors, you know, 2 years ago, didn't win a game. You know, and last year 7-10, he said as a group of seniors, if we could get to state, you know, with this group, he said that would be really an icing on the cake. And you do have a good group of seniors on this club.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. You know, that's always been a goal. Being last year, I think it was only maybe it was the second time teams ever made the tournament. So, you know, now we do that. We know, okay, that's kind of the expectation. You know, the expectation is every year we need to be playing in that tournament, because you get in the tournament, same as last year. You know, you beat the 1 seed, you win a game you're not supposed to, boom, you have to win one before you lose two. Unfortunately, last year didn't go our way, but you get in the tournament, anything can happen. You know, anybody can beat anybody, and you win 2 before you lose 2, and you're there. And that's a program goal, is making the state tournament, and that's something the kids know.
Out of the games last year, I think I counted 5 games were 3 runs or less.
Yep. Yeah.
They were losses, but is that something too where you guys, you know, hey, just a hit here or there, an out here or there or something, how close you were?
Yeah, that was the difference last year. I mean, you get 2 games, you get, you know, a Grand Forks Red River game and a Fargo North game, you know, Shanley when we went there. Those 3 go your way, and you're sitting at a 4 seed instead of the 8. And we knew that. That's just something, you know, younger group of kids, whatever. I don't know what it is, but we're in those games. That's what matters, because the ball isn't always going to go your other way. You know, you're not going to, like, for say last year in the Shanley game, I think we had 6 errors on pop flies. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And if it goes our way, you know, we beat them, we might be in a different spot. But the kids know that as long as we're in the games, we're playing them, we're being competitive. That's kind of something we preach as coaches, is compete. You know, we're not always going to have like I said, the same hand dealt that a Shanley or a West Fargo Cheyenne's going to have. So we just have to compete, do our game, and whatever happens, happens.
How about pitching? Do you feel you got a depth on the hill?
Yeah, you know, it's always tough to know until you get out there and competing against other teams. But we got a decent amount of arms, older guys and younger guys alike, that should contribute for us.
Offensively, is this going to be an ABC kind of a ball club? Get them on, get them over, get them in, or
It's always tough to say. I don't ever usually have a philosophy on that. At just as a standard, it's usually game to game.
Yeah.
You know, some days it's the wind's howling or blowing in. You got to play small ball. You got to steal bases. You got to bunt, that sort of thing. Other days the wind's blowing out. We're probably not going to be bunting. You know, it just kind of depends who you're facing. You know, you're facing Casey Clemenson from Cheyenne, lefty throwing mid to upper eights.
Yeah.
You kind of got to have a different game plan than if you're facing somebody throwing 75.
No, it is and you got speed, you got the guys that can do it. So I mean, it is. Is it nice too to have that you know you've got the kind of ball club you can probably do anything you need to do?
Yeah, we love athletes. You know, we love guys that you can put anywhere on defense, and it's not going to be there's not going to be a drop off. Same with offense. You know, you when your 1 and 9 hitters are pretty alike, you're probably doing something right. But there's not a drop off. You know, we like guys that can lay down a bunt for a hit, steal a base, take an extra base, read dirt balls, take bases on that. That's sort of something we preach. And we were talking earlier today, you know, about runners and stuff, and I said, you know, we don't have somebody that's slowing up the bases. We got a lot of athletes 1 through 9 that can run.
Final question for you, Seth. The new clubhouse is being built, and of course, as a Viking, a former Viking, and now you're coaching the Highliners, getting a chance to see that. How big is that for you?
Yeah, it's awesome. I drive by it every day when I'm going home. I see it, and they're making progress every day, and it's awesome to see. I'm sure the kids are excited. I'm excited. You know, it's a whole new space that we can use that we aren't accustomed to. It's something that they can take ownership of, and hopefully it gets it keeps kids at the field. You know, hopefully it's kids are just more likely to frequent there because it's a place to hang out. You know, it's a safe place. You know, they can be there with their friends, and that's what's important, is keeping kids at the field, keeping kids getting better, keeping kids out for the sport.
They don't have to dress in the dugout. Now they got a place to dress and hang their stuff.
Yep. They can hang their stuff. They're not getting dirt on everything. They're not getting dirt on their socks. It's a lot easier.
All right. Well, Seth, again, appreciate it. Looking forward to that first game. I know it's already been rescheduled to April 20th, the first scheduled home game, but we'll worry about that when. But the season is coming, and let's hope you get outside here shortly and at least get to see some brown grass anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything's better than snow.
Again, Seth, thanks very much. We'll see you.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet. That is Coach Seth Soderholm joining us from the Valley City Highlander Baseball. We'll be back with more of our Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner, here on the Highlander Activity Network, live again on YouTube. And again, if you haven't found us, you just go to YouTube. If you found us, thank you. But if you know anybody that is looking for us, just go to YouTube and search Highlander Activities or Highlander Activity Network. And, of course, all of our events live or are archived. Well, we just talked baseball. Now we're going to try and get the season going for softball. And new head coach Autumn Perry joining us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And first time on the show, but not new to Valley City. You've probably been here about 6 years now, right?
Yep.
around the area after your career with the Vikings and now second year with the Highlander program, first year as head coach. How has that, last year you got a chance to work as an assistant with Hillary and Ryan, and now that you're taking over, how easy has been the transition?
It's been a really easy transition. I think knowing the girls from last year made a huge impact, and already having that bit of respect and knowledge of how I coach has made a huge impact in making it just so simple to slide right in.
No pun intended, right?
Yep.
And you look at coaches you've had in high school and college. Are you taking some philosophies with you with that?
Oh, absolutely. I've learned so many great things from multiple coaches, and it's so easy to just pick little things from each thing and put it all together to find my own coaching style.
Now, what is your coaching style? How would you describe Autumn Perry's coaching style?
It's a little on the tougher side. I don't know how to explain it, I guess. I expect a lot out of the girls, no matter what, whether their talent's there or not, as long as the effort's there. That's a big part of it, and just pretty much making sure, like, paying attention, doing what I say, kind of like making sure the team's first rather than individual is a big part of it.
And now you're going to get a lot of the same questions that I just talked with Seth.
That's
the
fine.
gym is great, but
Yeah.
is softball too about the same as baseball? It's so hard really to gauge what you have when you're inside.
Oh, yeah. There's just not enough space nearly, like, especially, like, field size and a court size is so different. So, like, you're losing a lot of those throws. A lot of those bounces are not the same as on dirt as they are on a court. So you lose, like, a lot of those things.
Yep. And I mean, if you're playing on turf, that's funny.
That's one thing.
You might be doing that,
Yeah.
but you're not. You're gonna. It's grass or dirt, or agri-life, so it's a little bit different. How about it starts in the circle? You're pitching. Probably you got some arms that threw a little bit last year.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. Been great step forward from last year, even just to these last few practices. I've seen a lot of change, a lot of improvement, and a lot more new faces from junior high. That's been great too. So I think we have about 7 pitchers, where last year there's maybe 3.
So it's good to have options.
Absolutely.
Good to have
Absolutely.
options. And you look at the program too, Autumn. Granted, your second year, but you look at the Highlander program. It has been a fairly successful program. A lot of state tournament appearances over the years, and so a lot of these players have been there, so they know what it takes. Has that helped you too as a coach?
Absolutely, especially like knowing from other teams what to expect and prepping on like certain players steal more often or certain teams steal more often or bunt more often. That's been a huge part of how we practice and what to practice in defense and offense like that.
Well, we've talked about turf. I know a few times in your career you probably had to play at Locken Stadium since you probably couldn't play on the softball field. How different is that playing on turf compared to playing on dirt?
It's very different. A lot of hits that should be hits end up outs, and it's insane. And like just base running in general, you slip a lot more. You don't have that proper steps that you do because it's so slippery on turf compared to dirt.
And the ball gets to outfielders a lot quicker too.
Yes, absolutely. It rolls a lot faster, everything.
Well, let's hope we get something in Agri-Lime here. Again, your first game has already been moved.
Yep.
April 20th is the reschedule for that first home game. But final question to Autumn, as you look at this team, any expectations for you guys right now?
I'm expecting to make it to state again, honestly. I think farther than last year, but for sure making it is a big expectation.
Before I let you go, go Aztecs.
Yes,
She's
go
from San
Aztecs.
Diego.
Final Four.
First time ever in the school's history. And, of course, I'm partial to the Aztecs because they had coach Brian Dutcher. His dad coached the University of Minnesota, and I was a fan then, so it's kind of cool seeing that. Is there a lot of excitement back home with this team?
Oh, absolutely. There's opening day Padres and then Aztecs on Saturday. Everyone's super excited. I think it's also Mountain West's first time making it that far to anybody in the Mountain West.
I bet it is.
So it's huge for sure. It's a long time waiting.
Well, we're going to see what happens here this weekend. So next time I have you on, you may be wearing a national championship shirt.
You never know. Hopefully.
Autumn, I appreciate it for joining us, and good luck to you. And we hope to see you again out on the field here not too soon.
Yes, hopefully. Thank you.
You bet. Autumn Perry, head softball coach from the Valley City Highlanders. We'll be back with more of Coach's Corner here from the HAC on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner, here from the Highliner Activity Center on this Wednesday evening. Lots of bright sunshine outside, and I know we're supposed to maybe hit 40 this weekend, so spring is not too far off. Well, now we're going to go from outside to inside activities, and most importantly, it's choir and choir director, and here for the for Valley City Junior and Senior High, Patrick Calvillo. Calvillo, did I get it right?
Calvillo.
Calvillo. So the L is silent.
Correct.
Calvillo. So Patrick joining us, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How you doing so far?
Doing well in yourself?
Oh, loving it. Loving life right now. Can't complain about anything. But you've got something big coming up here. We've got the EDC vocal competition coming up here on Friday.
Yes, sir.
It'll be at Hope Lutheran in Fargo. But let's talk about what goes on. What's at a vocal competition?
Sure. So there's a bunch of different categories that you register for on NDHSAA, and that kind of splits them into who they have for judges. Each room that performs has a certain percentage of star ratings that they can give out. So you've got a 3, a 2, a 1, and a star. And so the star rating is what gets you to state vocal, which will happen later on in April at the end of the month.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so it just breaks out into those categories, and from there, yeah, you have a certain percentage that can get that star. Everybody else gets comments from those judges, and they get a little mini workshop at the end of their performance as well, where they're working on specific skills to help them improve.
When you talk about you go to the website to get to find, do you get a chance to practice or rehearse the pieces, or what? Is there any preparation
Sure.
that you would put in?
Yeah, so we started pretty much after Cafe. So I switched gears to our Orlando trip music, and then from there I was also getting these guys into their groups, into their solo spots. We've got a couple duets also that are doing things, and I hand them their music. I worked with my accompanist to get some recordings going for them to work from home or whenever they get a chance to work outside of school and all of that kind of stuff. As far as being in school and preparing during class, I send them into a practice room with goals. They work on that stuff. We get them with our accompanist for them to do stuff in front of me. I workshop them and kind of just send them back with more things to work on from there, and it's just kind of a slow progression forward.
And then Friday is the culmination of that slow progression.
Yes, sir.
Expectations coming in. Do you have any or no?
I think that they're ready. I think especially after some of these juniors and seniors going to Orlando and having that experience in front of judges, I'm really excited to see how they do this year. So no, they've been awesome. They've been working really hard, and we'll see what happens.
Let's talk about the Orlando trip. How did the things go down there?
Good. It was a really eye-opening experience. Not something that, I was kind of expecting it to be intimidating, but it wasn't too bad. The judges were very kind, and they kind of talk into a tape recorder while you perform. And so getting to hear their live feedback was very, very beneficial for me, and will be for the choir going forward for our spring concert.
Would that be distracting at all with them talking to a recorder while you're performing?
I don't know if it was for the singers. I was very zoned in, so
Right.
I didn't really notice anything. And yeah, so no, it was a lot of fun to experience that.
Well, you mentioned Cafe. This was your second Cafe concert, and as you and I were just chatting here a few minutes ago, you were right up my alley, karaoke, whichever part of the country. I think a great show for you
Thank you.
guys, especially for your second one, and the kids really enjoy Cafe, don't they?
Yes, they do.
It's a chance that they can kind of get out of the choir room and just go out and have some fun on a Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday, and Monday night.
No, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and you get good crowds there. What's the best part of Cafe for you as a choir director?
Best part for me would probably be picking the music. So it's something that was kind of daunting when I first got here. Everything was set up for me before I had gotten here.
Right.
And so going into it this year, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And so I ended up having just kind of this vague idea in mind of going back in time versus kind of the progression that has happened in the past. And so from there, I put ideas forward, or the choirs came up with ideas to vote on for the theme, which ended up becoming karaoke hits. And so, yeah, I'd say that was the most daunting task, was just putting the music together and going from there.
And it seemed like, if memory serves, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not up directing these kids. So
Correct.
you're kind of just back and watching them do their thing.
Yeah.
So that's got to be a proud moment for you as a director that you can sit back and let these kids just do it.
Yes, and it's also something that I never expected I would be doing as much as a director. So, no, it's been an awesome experience.
Well, it's two of Hope Moore of Cafe, and of course, I know folks around these parts love Cafe Concert. They love it. They look forward to it every year, and it's kind of a big deal. Now, final question: spring concerts are probably coming up here in April or May. You already working on stuff for the spring concerts?
Yes. So with the senior choir, we'll have 3 of their pieces that they had from Orlando, and then I'll be adding another piece on for them. We'll have anybody that state stars for state music. They will then be able to perform on that performance as well. In 9th and 10th grade, I've got their song started as well. And that concert will be May 1st here in the Hack at 7 p.m. And then other than that, we've got the junior high one coming up as well the next day on the 2nd that I've got stuff worked up for as well.
Any themes? Or is it just, just general music?
No general themes this year. Just spring concerts, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, again, Patrick, I appreciate you joining us here, and it's been fun so far, and keep up the good work and keep them singing, and have a great competition here on Friday.
Thank you. No, thank you for the opportunity.
You are welcome. That is choir director for Valley City Junior and Senior High, Patrick Avila, joining us here. And again, EDC vocal competition coming up in Fargo on Friday, and keep tuned to Highliner Activity Network for those concerts in May. We'll be back and talk band here in just a few as we continue with Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highliner Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner here on the Highliner Activity Network, and now moving into the instrumental part of the music scene, the band. And Rebecca Elliott, band director, joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm outstanding in the wind, as most people are here in North Dakota. Yes. And but the sun is shining.
It is. It's still very cold, though.
It's still very cold, exactly. But we appreciate you joining us. You've had a busy month of March.
Yeah.
And does it slow down for you for a little bit at all, or? Yeah?
For April is kind of like a regroup month,
Right.
and then we have May.
And then in May.
And it's basically a replica of March.
Okay.
It's just with less snow, hopefully.
Yes. If not, we're going to have issues.
We will.
And mental issues. But
Yes.
that again, another story altogether. Let's step back. How far back do we want to go? Let's go to the Orlando trip first.
We could
off.
go further back.
We could even go further back than that. How far back do you want to go?
The first week of March, we had our 9 through 12 band concert where we got to feature our 3 bands, jazz band, varsity band, and senior band, as well as our state star solos and ensembles. We had 9 solos and ensembles that performed at that concert, which was super fantastic. And then we played some really great music. And if you ask me what it was, hold on. It was a month ago. Senior band showcased all of their music that they were bringing to Orlando the following week. That was kind of like their little practice run before the competition.
Sure.
That went super well. The day after that was our 6th through 8 band concert with choir. So our 6th grade beginning band, that was their big debut, their first performance and playing for their parents. And the junior high band played as well with the choir. Went well. And then the next day, the jazz band and show choir did their yearly performance at Winter Show for their ag social. And that went super well as well. Probably better than the jazz band's performance at the concert, actually, because for whatever reason, playing in a big metal tin goes way better for them than in our hack. So that concluded our week of performances that first week of March. And then a week later, we all got on a bus, 51 band and choir students and 12 very brave adults. Got on a bus at 10 p.m. on Wednesday, March 15th, and we drove to Minneapolis, got on a plane, and went to Orlando.
Left a couple of days early because that was not good weather that weekend.
Yeah, we did it. Well, we left a couple of hours earlier.
Okay.
We were originally supposed to leave at midnight to get there in time for our morning flight.
Sure.
But it had actually ended up working out, I think, a lot better to get down there. I am well aware that the bus drivers had one heck of a time trying to get back. So we're very grateful that they drove us down there safely and got us there. And we're very glad that they safely made it back. But yeah, gosh, winter weather is stinky.
That's a polite word for it. Yep, it's a good word. It's a good word. But then you got to Orlando, and how things go down in Florida.
You know, they went very well. No major issues, no major incidents. We got to go do lots of things. We were very busy. Thursday when we got there, we went and checked into our hotel. There was lots and lots of other schools that were also in that process, so it was kind of busy. We had dinner. We went to a place called Wonderwork, spent some time there, came back to the hotel, slept for a few hours, woke up, and then it was performance time, and the choir went first, and they were off-site. We stayed in the Universal Studios area, in their parks and hotels area, but the choir performed off-site. They did super well. We got to hear other choirs as well from around the United States, and they were wonderful. It was fantastic to get to hear other groups as well, and for the kids to get to hear them. After that, we bussed right back, and the band got to perform at one of the Universal Sound Stages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun. We went and did that. It went very well. I think they were a little nervous and a little intimidated when you have 3 really well-achieved musicians and educators and conductors as your judges, adjudicators. They were all in their little areas with their tape recorders, recording all of their comments as we're playing and writing down. So that can be kind of intimidating. I had my back to them, so I didn't have to watch that part. But it was a lot of fun. And my favorite part was the performance and the clinic that came afterward, of course, because it's always great to learn from people who know more than you.
Yeah.
And they all know way more than me. They've been doing it way longer than me. So it was just really good and fun and rejuvenating, honestly, with the sun and all of that.
And no snow.
Yeah. And then we just got to do fun stuff after that.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time at Universal Parks, and we got to go to the Kennedy Space Center, and then made our way back home. Yeah.
Did you get? Did the kids get a lot of comments from the judges? Because the judges tell them how they did, what they did, what they can do better. How did you feel about that part of it?
I thought that went well, and that it's always good. A lot of the times, judges say the same things that the directors tell their kids, because there's only so much
Right.
technique and fundamentals and skills that you can talk about. They just say it in different ways. And so it's really nice when the judge says the same thing I've been trying to tell the band, but in a different way that maybe I wouldn't have thought of, and the kids are able to respond to it a bit better. That didn't completely happen. They didn't completely understand all the metaphors that the judge was giving them at this particular event, and it was actually kind of funny trying to see them figure it out, because they really wanted to figure it out. They just, they got a little nervous. But no, it was good. It was fun.
And then you came back to North Dakota, and
Yes.
last week was the music festival, state music competition in Bismarck.
Yes, it was the North Dakota Music Educators Association Convention, also called NDMEA.
Okay.
So the conference happens in conjunction with the North Dakota All-State Band, Choir, and Orchestra event. So back in January, students auditioned for those 3 ensembles. There's also a jazz band category and a vocal jazz. And they were placed in one of those ensembles if they made it in. And we had one student from Valley City on French horn, Casey Kruger, made it into the orchestra, which is really, really fantastic. A full orchestra is with strings and then one instrumentalist per part. So one flute 1, one flute 2, one clarinet 1, one clarinet 2,
Okay.
one per part. So he was all by himself on his horn 4 part, and I don't know exactly how they determine things, but I do know that you do have to be way up there in your audition to earn a spot in the orchestra, because it is so soloistic and
Okay.
individually expected that you can play your part by yourself. So it's a major achievement, and he totally deserved it, and I was so excited for him.
And if he did it during the audition, so it was his audition did in January.
He
It's
did.
not something that he did that weekend.
No, and after you audition and make it in, you just get to show up and have like 3 rehearsals with your group, and then you put a concert on. It's just kind of a showcase. Here are our top instrumentalists and vocalists that we have in the state. Moment, and all of us music teachers that are at the conference get to see it. So it's pretty fantastic.
If people in sports terms are trying to think about this achievement, I've got his picture here, and I was going to say French horn because my dad played the French horn, so I knew what this was. But this is all almost like making all-state in an athletic event.
Absolutely. Yep.
Getting this kind of an honor.
Yep. For sure. That's a very good way to correlate it to that. Yep.
And because it is a rare thing that you get picked to do this, especially when it's one instrument per part.
Yes. Yes. There were more that were in the band, but in this capacity, yes. He was one of 4 horns that got placed in the orchestra in the entire state.
So that is something for Mr. Kruger to hang his horn on. Sorry, I had to go there on that one. You know, it's what I do. It's my jam. But now, what's coming up here? Like you said, April's kind of downtime. Just kind of let the kids rejuvenate a little bit, to let the band director rejuvenate a little bit, and then spring concerts coming up in May.
Yeah, so we're only rejuvenating in mind and spirit. Physically, we are still hammering out music. I counted. We have 17 different charts in our folders right now because we have a concert, Jazzin' in May for the senior high, and then our junior high concert. We have graduation, which is completely different music, and then there's Memorial Day at the end of the year as well. And the Valley City Community Band will actually be joining us for that Memorial Day performance this year. So
Okay.
it won't just be us. We'll have the local ensemble join us.
Will that be at the Veterans Park, or where's that going to be? Here in
I-
the Hack?
I think it's going to be the same place it was last year, which was at the Eagles.
At the Eagles Club, okay.
Yes.
Okay, but we'll talk more as we get a little bit
Yes.
closer to that. We're still a couple of months away from that, but still an exciting time of the year. It's hard to believe it's already end of March.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
You're-
March can be done.
March can go out like a lion now. We're done with March.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you saying that as a band director or as an individual?
As a band director and an individual.
Well, I saw something the other day on social media. March has been a pretty long year.
It really has. Oh man, it really has.
But success has been going, though. The band has been playing well, and now the games are done.
Yeah.
This is where they focus on, is concerts now is what they think about. And it sounds like the last, this month was a pretty good month for the band.
It was. I hope they don't get too cocky because we still got lots to do.
Lots of work left to
Yes.
do. And with the concerts coming up in May, any themes or just
So for Jazzin', that's typically our themed concert, and this year the theme is space.
okay?
And so we're playing a lot of music that is depicting important moments in our past, dealing with like the space race and landing on the moon. And it's a really programmatic theme in the sense of it's kind of like movie music, but not. And then we're gonna have tons of fun decorating for that. And then we'll probably do more videos. Last year we did little movie trailers
Sure.
for our movie themed, but we're gonna. I have a lot of ideas. I just haven't done them yet.
Yeah, you're
March
trying
was
to,
hard.
Yeah, March
Yeah.
was hard, so you're going to regroup and then start thinking about
Yeah.
it. All right. Well, Rebecca, appreciate you joining us here on the show this evening. Continued success. Unfortunately, your team that you follow, the Blackhawks, are having a horrible season. I had to bring it up. I'm sorry.
I'm not ready for this. Patrick Kane, rest his soul, is no longer on the team. So I don't even know how I don't know.
You know,
I'm at a loss
you-
of how to move forward.
They might have to have a Blackhawks support group.
They really should, because
Yeah.
Taves is also done,
Yeah.
and it's just too much. It's too much in a short amount of time.
It-
March was tough.
And that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, Rebecca, again, continued success, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks so much.
You bet. Rebecca Elliott joining us, band director from the Valley City Public Schools. And we'll be back, wrap things up here for Coach's Corner from the Hack on the Highliner Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner here from the Highliner Activity Center, wrapping things up on this Wednesday night. And just a couple of shout-outs that we want to pass along. Highliners that have been doing some pretty good things here recently and already did, but got re-recognized. Karina Olson earlier this week named All-State in gymnastics. Actually, last week named All-State in gymnastics. So congratulations, of course, was the all-around state champ this year for gymnastics. And she was named to the gymnastics All-State team, which is voted on by the Coaches Association. And also Colton Griebel, of course, he was down at Virginia Beach, Virginia, at the National Folk Style Wrestling Championships, High School Wrestling Championships. A rough time for Colton. Got a win in his first match, lost a tough one in his second match, 3-1 in overtime, but came back in the consolation match, won a couple of them, and but then had a tough injury that happened during one of his victories and had the medical forfeit out the rest of the tournament, but still a good showing for Colton down at the Nationals in Virginia Beach, Virginia here last weekend. And of course, track and field, they got things going here. They had an indoor meet at NDSU last week. They're going to be at Concordia coming up this weekend for more indoor track and field. A lot of personal bests that were set here at NDSU, and a school record in the 800-meter run. Greta Govan set a 39-year-old school record. Susie Olstead had the record back in 1984, and Greta Govan broke the record with her time in the 800-meter. And then Reagan Berg, who finished second. Greta finished second in the race, and Reagan finished third. Reagan's time also passed Susie, so they are now 1 and 2 in school history in the indoor in the 800-meter run. And again, more good things coming from the track and field team as they get their meets going here again at Concordia College coming up this weekend. Well, it's going to wrap things up here for us here on Coach's Corner. And my thanks again, as usual, to our guests here this evening. Seth Soderholm, head baseball coach from Valley City High School, and Autumn Perry, our softball coach, and then band director Rebecca Elliott and choir director Patrick Cavill joining us here this evening. Thanks to them. And, of course, Jane Johnson, our cameraman and technical director, joining us here as well and pushing all the right buttons and making things work here on the Highlander Activity Network. And, again, thank you to all our sponsors, Valley City Booster Club and Essentia Health. We'll be back again at 6 o'clock next week, and you can expect some Express wrestlers will be joining us because they have some young kids, some youth that are going to be wrestling at the state tournament here, the Nationals in Iowa this weekend. 3 individuals and a couple of young ladies on the team North Dakota, and we'll talk Express Wrestling next Wednesday night, 6 o'clock right here at the Hack. It's Coach's Corner on the Highlander Activity Network.